Hey there, you've already been working on getting healthy this year, but you're worried that the holidays are going to derail your progress. You know that you want to be energetic and healthy for the holidays, but you don't want to have to give up all of your favorite holiday treats and foods and drinks. But you also know that in midlife, you need to do more to maintain your health and wellness. With perimenopause, one drink, it's too much. Those rich foods, they don't settle the way that they used to. And maintaining your weight feels harder than ever. If this feels like you, I have your solution. Midlife and Mistletoe is a holiday survival bundle designed to help you be healthy and energetic all through the holidays. With anti-inflammatory recipes, shopping lists, cocktail alternatives, and a 12-day private podcast, Midlife and Mistletoe helps you to be healthy, energetic, and focused through the entire holiday season. To get started, tap Midlife and Mistletoe link in the show notes. I'm Ashley Malik, and I help midlife moms to feel amazing using nutrition and mindset strategies that give you the healthy, happy, and confident life you've been striving for. After losing 65 pounds in perimenopause, tackling gut health issues, and surviving breast cancer, I've learned that health and wellness is so much more than just gathering information. Learning to rewire your brain and your thoughts lets you take all that valuable information and put it into action so that you actually get results. Here, you'll get strategies for eating healthy food without feeling deprived, systems for making nutrition work for you and your family, and steps to rewire your brain so that you never have to rely on motivation again. If you're ready to be healthy, have more energy, and thrive in midlife, you're in the right place. This is the Family Fork Podcast. Hello there, and thanks for tuning in today. I am so excited about this episode because this is the first time in all of my episodes that I have done an Ask Me Anything episode. Over the past couple of months, I have collected a bunch of questions from you, my loyal listeners, that really help to show me where you're struggling. So I've chosen a few questions that represent what I know you are thinking too. So a few lucky listeners get their questions answered, but you get the benefit from hearing how I answer those questions. Now, if you'd like to have me answer one of your questions on a future episode, just send me an email to ashley@ashleymalik.com and use Ask Me Anything as the subject line. I will definitely do another Ask Me Anything segment coming soon, so get your questions in right away. As for today's questions, we are digging into a few areas that I know are the biggest sources of challenge for women just like you. And actually, I'll be really curious to know how many of these questions resonate with you and which are things that you've probably asked yourself before. So with that, let's get into today's questions. The first question that I have comes from Kari, and she writes, I'm trying to eat healthy now that I'm in perimenopause, but my family is just not on board. How can I eat what I want, but keep everyone else happy? Oh my gosh, Kari, this is such a great question. And I know that you are not the only one who feels this way. So let's break this down a little bit. Perimenopause comes with lots of unexpected changes in our body. And if you listen, you will probably know that you need to switch things up. So you might have read that it's important to eat healthy. Like I recommend anti-inflammatory nutrition. I truly think it's the best in midlife. But you've probably also read, eat more protein or lift heavy weights. But the thing is, just because you want to eat anti-inflammatory does not mean that your family wants to go on that ride with you. Let's dig into what thoughts are coming up here, because you've probably heard me say before, it is your thoughts that drive your outcomes, not the situation that you're in. So when it comes to perimenopause, you're probably feeling super frustrated with low energy, hot flashes, weight gain, not sleeping well. Oh my gosh. And so when you think about that, you feel the feelings that you can identify are frustration and defeat. Now, let's think about that. When you feel frustrated or defeated, it's actually really easy to give up. Like in this example, it's really easy to say, you know what, it's not even worth it when my family won't eat what I want to eat. And so, what's the result that you get? You actually don't even try and force family meals anymore, and you just keep eating what everyone in your family wants to eat. But the problem with that is that you're not eating the things you want to eat. And so you continue to struggle with low energy and hot flashes and weight gain. And unfortunately, in this situation, you might even see some resentment that builds towards your family because they're not working and being flexible with what you want to eat. But let's take a different point of view here. Let's look at what your family might be thinking. In their world, meal times have pretty much always been predictable. Everyone is settled into a few different meals that they like each week. And so when mom decides to quote unquote eat healthy, it kind of throws a wrench in an already working system. Your kids and sometimes your partner, they have no interest in eating zucchini noodles or in making healthy swaps. So it can feel like the family is kind of at a standstill. And too often, what I see is that women put their needs aside in order to break that standstill. I don't want you to do this. Something that Kari mentioned, she said, I want to eat what I want, but I want to make everyone else happy. Just know this, it is not your job to make anyone else happy. But I also get it. As a mom, it's totally reasonable that you are going to make some accommodations to support what everyone in the family needs. But I do not want you doing this at the expense of putting your needs on the back burner, okay? So now that you understand how certain feelings like frustration or defeat are actually driving your results, let's look at a couple of functional ways that you can approach this situation. So here are some things you can do. You could hold a family meeting. And in that meeting, I want you to share with your family what you're going through and how you would actually like their support. You can actually just treat this like a meeting at the office where you would definitely respect that everyone has a point of view to share. Something else you could try is that you could take some of the recipes from my free meal plan. I've linked to it in the show notes, or the Supper Club, which is a membership, also linked in the show notes. And you can get feedback and buy-in from your family on those recipes. What's cool about all of the recipes I share anywhere is that I always include an anti-inflammatory version and a family-friendly version. So this allows your family to have the meals that they're used to, but then you can make really easy anti-inflammatory swaps without having to cook a separate meal. Something else you can try if you're struggling to break this standstill with your family is that you can get your family involved. Have them share the load of grocery shopping or chopping veggies, setting the table, and even making one of the meals. I promise you, kids and partners of every age and ability can get involved somehow. And truly, when your family has a vested interest in what they're eating, it makes it easier for meals to come together that are going to work for everyone. So, Kari, I hope this gives you and everyone else a few places to start. I want you to remember, though, it is not your job to make everybody happy, but it's okay to work with and respect your family's wishes as long as you don't put your needs on the back burner. All right, that was a great question. And now let's tackle our next one. The next question is from Kelly. Kelly writes, I'm in perimenopause and I want to lose weight and get healthy, but I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of information out there, I don't even know where to begin. Kelly, can I just tell you that you speak for millions of other women out there who are listening and who feel the same way that you do. So I'm so glad that you brought this up. Now, if you write anything down from today's episode, I want it to be this: overwhelm and overthinking are the avoidance of feelings. I want to repeat that, okay? Overwhelm and overthinking are the avoidance of feelings. Now, we'll examine that phrase in just a minute. But first, I want to celebrate the fact that women everywhere, including doctors and other health professionals, women everywhere are finally talking about the toll that perimenopause and menopause takes on a woman's health. We have needed to have these conversations for decades. But along with these conversations comes so much information. Like, it is information overload. Eat more protein, drink more water, take magnesium to sleep better, or walk 10,000 steps a day, manage your stress, lift heavy weights. And then it's like, which supplements are the right supplements? Or is HRT the right way to go? But what if I can't take HRT? What am I supposed to do? So it is no wonder that you have no idea where and how you are supposed to begin. But I want to look under the hood at your brain. So remember, I said that overwhelm and overthinking are the avoidance of feelings. Now, when your brain starts to feel overwhelmed, like, where do I begin with this perimenopause journey? Or you start to overthink your choices, this is really happening because your brain is trying to avoid painful feelings. Remember, it's that avoidance of feelings. So we're trying to avoid things like guilt or embarrassment, maybe defeat or frustration or disappointment. So this might not make sense or seem super logical. So let's look at a very concrete example. Say that you have read, I have to eat more protein. I'm supposed to eat 150 grams a day. And you think to yourself, oh my God, that is really hard to get in that much protein every day. Like, what kind am I supposed to do? Like, whey or plant-based? Do I eat more meat? And then your brain starts to spiral. Well, what if I don't do it right? What if I can't get 150 grams every day? I'm going to feel defeated. I'm going to feel maybe a little embarrassed that I can't figure it out. I've heard women say before, I feel stupid for not knowing what to do. Or maybe you just feel frustrated that there are so many decisions to make and it's just about protein. Maybe you'll think, I've tried this before and it was just too hard to get that much protein in without living on protein bars. So in this case, what does your brain do? Your brain lets you believe that feeling overwhelmed actually gives you permission to not do anything at all. Because if you're overwhelmed and you start digging into solutions, you might feel embarrassed, defeated, frustrated. None of those feelings feel good, and you probably don't want to experience them. So you do nothing. And you tell yourself, or your brain gives you the story, like, you don't even know where to start. And when you do nothing, unfortunately, nothing changes. So what is the solution here? First and foremost, the most important thing you have to do is you have to notice when you are sort of letting yourself give in to overwhelm and overthinking. I really want you to notice when your brain tells you that a new approach to food or a new workout or whatever it is too hard, too confusing, or like you don't have enough time. I want you to notice when your brain tries to stop you from making a move that could potentially improve your health or support your weight loss. So once you've noticed that, then the next step is to get curious. It sounds so simple, but in Kelly's situation, and probably your situation too, you are overwhelmed with the amount of info and you don't even know where to start on your health and wellness journey. So here's what getting curious looks like. What if I tried one new workout this week? Just one. It would give you the chance to see if you like it, if you like the instructor, if you can fit it into your schedule. Getting curious gets you off the bench to just try something. And then you actually have data to work with. Then next week, you can try, say, 2 new recipes and test them out for you and your family. Again, it's getting curious. What happens when you serve those meals? Does your family like them? Can you cook them and serve them again quickly? Just trying those 2 new meals next week, it's data so that you can make 1 or 2 more choices and keep moving forward. So you'll see, you notice those thoughts and those feelings, and then you get curious, what would happen if? And it's that getting curious that moves you from spiraling in overwhelm to actually collecting some meaningful data that's going to help you move forward in losing weight or getting healthy, whatever your situation is. It also helps you deal with those difficult feelings that come up because it lets you just say goodbye to shame and embarrassment. Because simply by getting curious, this gives you a ticket to trying something new, risk-free, not worrying if you fail or not. Because remember, you're just being curious. Hopefully, you're starting to see a theme here. Your brain and your thoughts make it really difficult for you to try new things, to be consistent, motivated, or to push through challenging health and wellness situations. But the more you train yourself to notice when your brain is slowing you down or when your thoughts stop you from trying a new approach that potentially could help you sleep better or lose weight, the easier it is to reset yourself to push through anyway, even though the feelings that you might feel may be a little bit uncomfortable for just a little while. Let's look at another question. This one is from Melissa. My biggest barriers to losing weight right now are stress, having a glass of wine every night, and finding exercise that I enjoy. I know that I can do this, but I feel like it's one more thing on my to-do list. Oh my gosh, can you totally relate to where Melissa is coming from? We all feel stress every day. And having a glass of wine or 2 at night, for many women, it's kind of become an automatic way to relax. And then finding an exercise program, let alone one that you like, I mean, no wonder all of this feels like such a drag. So like we've been talking about, all of this goes back to the thoughts that Melissa is having. I'm too stressed. I can't find a workout I like. I don't want to give up my nightly glass of wine. In this situation, I see 2 themes coming up. So first, when it comes to being stressed and finding an enjoyable workout, it is really easy for your brain to default to all of the previous times that you've tried to manage stress or tried to find a workout that's super fun, only to be totally disappointed that nothing works. Nothing relieved the stress. No workouts felt fun. They just felt like work, right? So this triggers your brain to remembering how bad it felt to feel disappointed or frustrated when you couldn't relieve the stress or you couldn't find a good workout. And so just by wiring, you are automatically inclined to do anything not to feel that way again, including doing nothing, which gets you nowhere. The other theme that I see in Melissa's question is the idea of doing something that's different. So our brains love predictability. Your brain loves to know what is coming next. This keeps your nervous system calm. And in sort of like a primitive sense, it keeps you feeling safe. So if you're facing a season of trying different things, like choosing not to drink wine every night, which that's become predictable for your body, or doing a workout that gets results even though it isn't your absolute favorite, all of these things feel like a threat to your brain and your nervous system because the outcome is no longer predictable. So your brain will keep reminding you, oh my gosh, that workout felt so bad, or I can't relax at all without a glass of wine every night. Or maybe you're thinking, I just don't have enough capacity to even figure out all this health stuff. I'm just too stressed. So, the way we get out of this situation, this worrying about trying different things or worrying about difficult feelings, it's the same thing that we talked about in the last question. Noticing when your brain and your thoughts are stopping you from making different choices, and then getting curious about what would happen next if you push forward anyway, knowing full well that skipping a glass of wine might be uncomfortable, or recognizing that workouts, they don't actually need to be fun in order for them to be successful. We've been talking about noticing and getting curious. And just a side note, in my program, the Perimenopause Weight Loss Method, or I often just call it the method, I actually teach my students a complete framework for noticing those unhelpful thought patterns, but then we take it one step further to actually rewire your brain so that you can stop all of these intrusive thoughts a lot earlier in the process, which is going to make it faster and easier to see results in your health and wellness. But always, the first step is training yourself to notice and then get curious. What would happen if I pushed forward anyway? Okay, I want to hit just one more question before we close up this episode, because this particular one hits very near and dear to my heart this year in particular. So, Molly shares this frustration about her year. I started swimming and completely fell in love with it. I got stronger from head to toe. But then I had a shoulder injury and now I can't swim. I can't even use my arm at all. I know I need to focus on my mindset, but unexpected setbacks have made me feel like all that I have done has gone down in a landslide and my body will never be the same. Oh, Molly, I know that so many women can relate to this. The minute we start going through perimenopause and beyond, we know, we can feel it, that our bodies will never be the same. But where we struggle is in figuring out how to get back to feeling strong and healthy and confident when the old ways of doing things are no longer an option. Like we talked about in the last question, the old ways were predictable. And those things are no longer an option. Personally, I feel this so deeply because 6 months ago, I felt the strongest I had in my entire life. But then I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And a double mastectomy completely altered the way I needed to work out and care for my body for the foreseeable future. So the challenge here is in one, accepting that setback. It's okay to get mad and be angry, but then two, in shifting your thoughts to be forward thinking instead of getting stuck in that mad, angry cycle. I want to disclaimer this here and say it is completely acceptable and okay to get mad and angry and frustrated and to share and verbalize those feelings. It is important to do that, but you don't want to get stuck there. So feel your feelings, share them, and then make a choice to move forward. When you have a major setback, like an injury or a health complication, or maybe there's even like a major shift in your family, like a death or a divorce, your brain switches into survival mode. And in survival mode, your brain stops coming up with creative solutions to problems. So if you're struggling with an injury like Molly, your brain is only thinking about how to heal, get better, and survive. But if you take a step back and, like we've been talking about, you notice these thoughts that your brain is offering you, you can come up with some different solutions. In this particular case, since Molly loves swimming, maybe she can find a way to use a kickboard or another flotation device so that she can still be in the water, which she loved, and work out her legs while she gets her heart rate up. Perhaps she can also try some weightlifting with her legs only, so her arms and shoulders don't have to get involved. Maybe for you, it's not an unexpected setback in your physical health, but maybe a major shift in your time or your availability. Notice those thoughts that you have, like, I don't have time to work out anymore, or I don't have time to cook healthy meals, let alone shop for them. Once you've noticed the thoughts, encourage your brain to do some creative problem solving. Again, we're getting curious. Like for healthy meals, if you don't have time anymore or all of a sudden to cook healthy meals, you don't have time to shop, maybe you can grab my free meal plan that's linked in the show notes and then order groceries through a delivery service with the already provided shopping list. That sounds pretty easy, right? Or do you have a teenager at home, one that can drive? Send them to the store for you. I know when I was going through my breast cancer treatment, I had friends and neighbors and family always asking how they can help. Well, can they pick up your groceries for you? And maybe they could come and help you chop some veggies. There are always ways to support your health and wellness, even when you are facing major setbacks. But you first have to notice the thoughts your brain is giving you and then get curious, which is going to spur you into this creative problem solving mode. I am incredibly grateful to these women for sharing these questions, and I'm just really confident that you resonated with their stories. I have worked with enough women over the years to know that these are stories and thoughts that I hear frequently from moms and women everywhere. So I know that they're really representative. A lot of the thoughts you have about health, wellness, fitness, they've actually served a purpose for many years and throughout evolution to keep you safe. But in this day and age, we don't need our primitive safety mechanisms like we needed hundreds of years ago. Yet your brain is wired to believe things like difficult feelings, unpredictability, and uncertainty are unsafe. So instinctually, you're still wired to protect yourself in ways that don't necessarily serve you. In the Perimenopause weight loss method, my group program, I teach you how to recognize these thoughts and feelings and then decide which ones are true. And then you actually learn how to create thoughts and feelings that are going to serve you better, to keep you out of feeling stuck so that you can finally see results. There's a link in the show notes if learning this kind of framework would help you to get unstuck, to recognize your protective stories, and then to teach yourself how to succeed. I have loved answering these questions today, and I will continue to collect more questions for another episode. So if you have a question or you want me to help you with a midlife health or weight challenge, just send me an email to Ashley@AshleyMalik and use Ask Me Anything as the subject line. Plus, I'll even let you know ahead of time if I've selected your question for an upcoming episode of The Family Fork. Okay, go forward this week, taking special care to notice the thoughts you have and then get curious about what would happen if you pushed forward anyway. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you back here next time. Thanks for listening to the Family Fork podcast. I hope today left you inspired and equipped with something tangible that you can put into action today. Remember, success is so much more than just gathering information. You have to put it into action. If this episode resonated with you, here's how you can help the show reach even more midlife moms. Hit follow, share it with a friend who's struggling in midlife too, and if you're feeling generous, leave us a review. Your thoughtful review helps other listeners discover these conversations when they need them the most. This show has become even more than I could have imagined, and it's because of loyal listeners like you who show up and share. You are helping to build this community and movement that will inspire midlife moms for years to come. For show notes, links, and resources, head to ashleymalik.com/podcast. Keep striving for the healthy, energized life that you deserve.